We're awkward nerds, can you tell? So it is 5 o'clock. We've got a lot to get through. We've got you for the next 2 hours. Crazy. They gave us way longer of a time this year. Didn't think they would. Or a bigger room.
Why did they?
That's a good question. Hello, for everybody who doesn't know us, we are the Smoking Dragons. We are Trevor's Dungeon Crawlers. My name is Nova.
My name is Solar.
I'm Logic.
I'm Crafty.
Not Chaos.
And Zero was supposed to be here, but unfortunately he wasn't feeling so good today, so unfortunately he has to miss. And Hidden's off doing something hidden. I don't know. But let me get a quick show of hands. How many of you already know who we are?
Yes!
Sick!
Yes!
Yeah.
Sick!
That's all it takes.
It's really all that matters.
Alright, panel's over. Let's go home.
Alright, we did our first.
So, how many of you have played D&D before? All right, good. Virtually everybody. Fantastic.
Did anyone come to our panel last year? Nice!
Awesome.
We were happy to be there.
I know.
Yeah, no, we were all there.
Yeah, we were
All 7 of us. But we create content on Twitch as well as some D&D content. We do some variety gaming and stuff like that. All in all, we try to promote kindness and community. So we always try to make sure that everybody feels welcome whenever they show up to our community. And that's what we are going to talk about today in terms of welcoming, being someone who is able to make a good character and feel welcome at a table. Like how I did that segue, it was a bit of a stretch. Could have been better. But I'm winging it like I do most of my sessions. If you learned from last year, sometimes that's the way you do it. But we're going to talk about plenty of character creation methods, what makes a good backstory, how to role play, because some people think they know how to role play, but then there's also not really too much of an incorrect way to role play. There's bad ways to role play, but not an incorrect way to role play. We're also going to talk about NPCs for those of you who are dungeon masters, how to make a good NPC, or even a throwaway one, because not every NPC is that important. Sometimes you just need something like Dave on the street, who's just a guy, and because your players ask you, who's that guy that I just talked to? And you really want to strangle that player because they ask that about every single character that they come across.
Well, then make sure you come up with a name every time I ask, because I will.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I just do it on purpose.
Yeah,
she does it just to test me.
But Dave on the street is going to join our party and be the most integral part of our team.
I was like, I want that guy.
Important to me.
And we're also going to talk a little bit about villains and BBEGs. That's a huge part of the campaign. You want a good villain. So, starting off, what makes a good backstory? It's subjective. It's based off of, your own opinion. But a lot of things that coming up with backstory, one of the easiest things is getting inspiration from media, from books, from TV shows, video games, anime. You can grab inspiration from everything, but there's a difference between inspiration and plagiarizing. Do not copy the character, because then when you go to play that character, everybody knows, like, you're just that character. And then it kind of takes them out of it. Takes you out of the mystique of D&D. What are some good examples of pulling inspiration from media? I'll address the rest of the dragons for this.
I read books that you guys don't read. They can hear me. I'm loud enough. I don't need a mic.
Okay, fine.
So yeah, I'm great that you guys don't read the books I read, because I use those characters all the time. Not like directly, like word for word, but I'd be like, I like this guy's his
persona.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go, okay. There you go.
That's definitely a good way to use that. Just taking an idea of a character and a personality of a character and reusing it, because there's only so many personality traits, and you're eventually going to find one that's.
I'm certainly not creative enough to do it all myself, but I'm creative enough to take something I like and turn it into my own thing.
Yeah, make it different enough.
Yes.
I think everyone has different ways they like to make characters. Like, for instance, I made a character, Oscar, and I took inspiration from a very old shoujo series called Rose of Versailles. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. But it's basically about a character who was raised as a boy, was actually female. I believe it's because they didn't have a male heir. And then I kind of took that, ran with that, but also made them a prince, made it more complicated. I just I took a base and I kind of made it into my own character, because they were nothing like actually Oscar and Rose of Versailles. They were horrible. They're not.
We took them
And we messed it
and made
up.
them a horrible person.
No, they're not a bad person. They're just a bard. So
Yeah, that's essentially what it boiled down to. I was going to say, it's only a few words. They were a bard. It's really all
Hey,
that's.
I gave them a complicated backstory and something to.
There was some complexity there, and it worked really well.
Complexities and fighting my character development.
Was it convoluted?
Both.
It can be both.
It
but
can
also,
be both.
I mean, your character did grow.
I tried, and then it revert, and then grow again, and then they did enough character
You were
development,
always
but
tempted.
I don't like to do it all at once.
That's another thing about characters that we do need to discuss later that we did not put in our notes. Characters need to have an arc. That's important.
Or not. Just
Or they could have a very delayed arc where it takes multiple campaigns to develop through. There's that, but that's 4D. That's 4D chess.
That's dedication.
That's huge.
But I think the base starting point for all the characters that you're going to play is just, what do you like?
Yeah.
What do you like? What do you want to do? Do you want to hit things? Do you want to be silly? Do you want to be super serious? It's just, you have to start with that very basic concept and build out from there. Because let me tell you, playing a character you don't like is awful. It sounds so simple, but even if you started off with a character you think you liked, and then as it goes on, you're playing it, and you're just wow, I'm just not vibing with this character. Then you the session becomes a drag. Everything is just terrible, and then it shows, and it makes and nobody wants that. So it's very, very important to do what you like.
Yeah, don't force yourself to do anything. Make a character that you don't want to play, because at the end of the day, you want to have fun, and you don't want to make it just unenjoyable.
be comfortable with your character.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine to step a little bit out of your comfort zone every now and then to change things up, to shake it up. But don't do it to the point where it becomes too uncomfy, and you want to be like, I really just want to roll death saves for this character already, please. Just hit me with everything you got. Come
Purposely
on.
throw your character into danger. You're like,
There's an ancient red dragon that you can parlay with. It's like, no, I'm gonna go sock him right in the mouth.
I would say if you do have that
Why did you
issue,
do that?
No, just boom its nose.
I would say talk to your DM.
Yeah.
If you're having issues, I think communicating with your DM is super important.
Wow, super great segue.
Communication, but no, that was our big thing last year. This year, our biggest thing is do not be afraid to ask for help. That's very important. You can ask help from your fellow players, from your DM. You can ask anybody. What do you think of
I don't think it's even do not be afraid to ask for help. I think it's you should always ask for help, because we start with something we like. Okay, I like playing barbarians because they're stupid and they're fun, and you just swing a sword or an axe, and it's a great time. Okay, I want to play barbarian. Now I go to my DM and go, I want to play a barbarian. Let's make this work. And we go from there. Where do I come from? What is my motivation? These are all things you have to work with your DM for, because they've got the world, but you've got the player, and you need to connect them together. So I would even say it isn't even, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's like, you need to go to your DM and be like, hey, help me flesh this character out.
Yeah, that's super huge. And I mean, with and even barbarians, having a certain way, but then you can get more intricate with other classes such as like rogue, and you give them the traumatic backstory if you'd like. Or you could do something different and have them have both parents be alive.
What?
I know, crazy notion, everybody. Don't all come at me with pitchforks just yet.
Great childhood and everything.
Yeah, great childhood. They could be awesome. I know of one character that's in one of our shows that is exactly like that.
Oh yeah, totally.
I
That's
definitely
great.
thought about playing like a Nepo baby rogue, who like who steals because they always get away with it, because after they get caught, their parents just like, hey, I have to pay off the cops or whatever, and so they just devolved into this person who steals everything because they can. What are you gonna stop me? Don't you know who I am?
I mean, that's kind of what Bobby was, except without like the Nepo thing.
That's faulty.
Yeah, well, that's just because he was good at it.
But also, Bobby really had nothing to lose because he was.
He had nothing to begin with in general. He was.
Well, that's
Yeah.
how why he ended up being the way he was.
Yeah, he had nothing, so he took everything. That was the character.
Yeah. That's a while ago.
Wasn't really that long ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, not-
the
oh,
campaign
no.
The
finished like
campaign
3 months ago.
ended in
Well, I'm
July.
thinking of Bob.
That's he has no idea who that even is.
Oh, I had-
He
I
had
had
a
no
character
clue.
named Bob who, were you a wizard?
That was my very first character ever.
He ended
Bob,
up
Bob the
turning-
Necromancer.
You turned against the party and tried to kill us all. But
That
it was planned. He talked to DM about it. Also, don't just do that out of nowhere into your DM. Don't all of a sudden turn evil and try to kill your party members. That's like really messed up.
Again, working
Talk
with your
to them.
DM for
Talk
things.
to them, please. Don't-
Open line of communication.
Don't just say, I'm going to kill my party members and decide it like randomly in the middle of the session. That's horrible to your players and
Oh
your
yeah.
Or just, fireball.
You haven't gotten to that bullet point
No,
yet.
that's fine.
Please.
Fireball.
Skipping turns.
I'm not
How
worried
dare you?
I'm just going what's coming to mind. It's a guideline.
But more on the lines of backstory. Sorry, we do tangents. For those of you who were here last year, we do tangents.
It's okay, we have
That's why they give us 2 hours.
That's why they give us 2 hours. Now there's going to be more time for actual questions. I plan on it. Whether that plan comes to fruition or not is up to these guys, which is how it usually works. Being a DM and all. So with alongside working with your DM, working with your fellow players to have a shared kind of backstory, collaborate on a backstory. That also can enrich your character, make it feel more alive. So rather than have this character like you can have a joke character, but then you can all of a sudden throughout the campaign realize that you actually connected this joke character and it actually becomes a super important character to you.
You're so mean, everyone was like, oh, Oscar's a joke character. I'm like, I'm complicated, okay? I'm not a joke character. But that's made me think of me and Crafty made a character actually recently where our backstory was intertwined because we were best friends.
Yeah.
And so that made it more interesting, kind of to where how we ended up. So stuff like that.
Yeah, it's best to start off the party already knowing each other, because then you get rid of that awkward, like, introducing yourself to everybody.
The awkward 3 sessions.
The awkward 3 sessions of everybody getting to know each other, like, oh, I don't trust you, or I'm thinking you're gonna stab me in the back, or I'm gonna steal stuff from you.
Not every.
Why would you let a rogue in the
I
party?
I suppose it severely depends on the kind of story that you want.
Sometimes you meet in a bar and you end up in a situation
Yeah, I
where
mean,
you're
I
like,
don't,
oh.
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the meet in a bar and
Right.
shenanigans ensue kind of beginning.
Or you all are took from different places and some king wants you to
It's
do
just,
this
like
task.
I said, it's just communication. Oh man, we're going back to that.
Communication is important.
It's very important
It's
to be
very
clear
core.
that that's where you're starting, so that your players know where they're starting from too. And then it's important for them to, as the sessions go on, they have their character and they say, where do I want to go from here? That's the arc, character development. Because you can play the character, but if you don't have a character arc, or you don't have somewhere you want to go with the character, something you want to do, then you're sort of just like a plot device in the story, and you're not really involved. You're just like there participating, but you're not really in the story.
You're not moving it forward.
Right. I mean, character development is hard for me.
Sometimes.
Because
I don't think
well,
character development is certainly not easy,
no.
but if you have a character with no goals or aspirations or whatever, unless that's specifically the kind of character you are setting out to play, then it sort of just feels like you're along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been playing D&D for over a decade, and the reason character development, I can do it. It's just difficult because I love being chaotic, and I just love staying chaotic. But
the name shouldn't have been Logic.
I don't know. We're good. It's fine. I have some logic sometimes. I need to play a character that's very logical. But I mean, it just depends on what kind of characters you like to play. Like I love to play those chaotic characters that like to stir the pot, but also I have to cooperate with my party. I'm not like trying to kill them. I'm just trying to make everything more fun.
No, you just cause problems.
Yeah, because it makes it more interesting. But everyone has different characters. Like, talk about kind of characters you guys like to play. Like, or maybe your favorite one.
Well, the character that I created, Sochi, she, how do you say it? She was a blood wizard. Right?
Yes, Blood Mage.
Blood mage. And
Not in D&D. This is a
Separate
homebrew-
tabletop.
This is a
Different
separate tabletop, a
separate.
homebrew system
We're
I
not
created.
strictly confined to Dungeons and Dragons. It's obviously great and we love it, but there's more than Dungeons and Dragons out there.
yeah. But no, my character, she started out being pretty just to herself, you know, and then down the road, and then I was like, okay, you know what, let me start breaking out of that character, keeping to myself. So she started interacting with other players in her team, and from there, she kind of started growing and opening up more. So at first, I would play my character very conserved and to herself, and then later down the road, I was like, okay, you know what, let's open her up a little bit more, like let her speak up more, you know, which she did towards the end of the campaign. We actually did got some character development out of her, which I like playing her. And when I created that character, I kind of took kind of like a personal experience with that character.
Very popular thing to do.
Yeah, which is another popular thing to do to create your character. So not just media, also personal experience helps out as well. Also like my spoiled prince.
Oh, Prospero.
Prospero. I took personal experience from my brother because he was the youngest and he's spoiled pretty much. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play my brother and see how that goes. And I really miss playing that character. I want to play it again. It was so much fun.
You're like, dang, it's fun being you.
Hey, Okir was also great. He was just a dumb Marion who moonlit as an interior designer.
Oh.
He started out as a really angry character because I didn't want to play Curse of Strahd because I had already played it before and I was over it. And then I just made a character. I'm like, I'm gonna flip my name backwards and I'm gonna make a barbarian and just be angry the whole time because I'm so mad I don't want to play this game. And then I started loving the character.
It worked out.
And he became, you know, an interior designer. Like, okay, a really big fan of open concept. And he knocked down a wall.
It's not the kind of interior design you guys are thinking.
No, drapes too tacky, mess up feng shui. Not good. Put vase of flowers on table. Tie whole room together.
No, he uses bodies to make it.
Oh,
furniture.
he
That's
came
what I mean.
he would take
Corpses of
corpses and make body pillows.
I must have missed this.
Yeah.
I must have missed
Did
this
he
session.
make
Yeah,
hair too?
I don't think you were there.
It's come up a few times though.
I forgot about it. I totally just like
Yeah, I was like, you're
that
saying
just
interior
exited
design,
my
but that's
mind.
not-
When you're like when you were starting to talk about body pillows,
Furniture
I'm
was-
like that's depraved, and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
wait,
it's
I thought of
depraved.
that. Do I have a problem?
We walked into his house and it was just like literal body pillows, like tables.
There's a
with so much
footstool
Footstool.
made out of a foot, an armchair.
I had to
You
sit
guys
there.
get
Was
it.
there a lamp that was a leg?
Yes.
Was it a major rule?
I mean, to here it was
I
probably.
don't get that until.
It's a joke. It's fine. It's Christmas story
Christmas
joke.
story.
Yeah.
We had to sleep in that house.
That sucks.
I slept on the couch where that body pillow was, my
But
character.
that's another thing of like coming up with like a character or backstory based off of just how you feel in the moment too. Just like using everything that you have at your disposal to create a character. And again, I created Okir and I was angry, and then I ended up just loving the character. That I brought him back for multiple things. So much fun.
Chaos, talk about some of your
Yeah,
characters.
Chaos. Why don't you?
Want to talk about
You've been
talk
talking
about-
so much.
I have.
Yeah, I can't shut you
That's
up.
why
I
I'm
know,
calling you out.
right?
Talking to the mic.
Go
Well,
on.
unlike you guys who use, books and yourselves to create backstories and characters, I use none of that.
Oh, I'm just I'm just kidding.
I literally will just come up with an idea and be like, yeah, let's do this.
Must be nice to be.
I mean, I
God's
do that
favorite.
sometimes too. I don't think I drew Trinity from anything.
Trinity is a
Well, it's just
freaking enigma.
myself, but like also I make her really unhinged.
Yeah, like you just come up with ideas that you might like, and try to just flesh them out. Right, make them go. Maybe pick a class that it would go with.
Just
Make
pull
it
things
make
out of
sense.
this.
Yeah, there's another thing of make your character make sense. Don't like we talked about previously. If your character has done all these amazing, crazy things in their adventure, but you're starting at level 1, how?
Yeah.
How are they level 1?
And also,
That doesn't make any
it's
sense.
nowhere to go. Like, if you have an adventurer who's already done everything and been someone, like,
Where's
there's
the
no
fun in that?
growth for the character there. They can have a history of something, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, you gotta give yourself somewhere to go.
Well, I mean, there are like some certain like stagnant characters. Like for instance, like I'll make a video game example. Like Tales of Vesperia, if anyone wants to play Tales games. The main character Yuri, he's pretty stagnant already. He doesn't. It's more based around what he's doing and his party members, and like more like being foils for their growth because he's already kind of in his ways. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but
Or
it
another
can
way,
work.
another way you can do it is that it was somebody who was really powerful, but they lost their abilities.
They got
Somehow
drained.
got power drained or something.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Stop.
I mean, that's a way you can make like an older character who's already been on some adventures and then now has to go on a new adventure in order to reclaim their lost abilities to get revenge against the guy who took them from them. So, and then that's another thing that your DM can create as a foil to you to now you have a rival, you have an arch nemesis that's specifically for you, and so that those could be character moments for you when they come up.
Right, and your backstory doesn't always just have to be you. Create NPCs, create your best friend, create your parents, if
Everybody
they
around
exist
you.
still. So just, yeah, if you want to make like a childhood best friend, like, okay.
No, don't
No,
do
you
that.
have to-
That gets murdered in front of you, I don't know.
You make your childhood dog and then the DM kills it because he's a horrible person.
It's character growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I do want to bring up.
I would like to, for the record, I have never killed a pet.
We don't do
In any of the sessions.
we don't do
I've
animals.
never done it.
I can't. No.
I have been this close though.
No, the camel.
That wasn't a pet.
That wasn't a
That's
pet.
an animal. It was animal.
I said
It
pet
was someone's
specifically.
pet. It was that guy's
Pet.
pet.
P-E-T.
Yes.
Pet.
It was someone's
Not
pet.
random camel in the middle of the desert who
No, it was
somebody
someone's
decided
camel.
to chop its head off.
By
I don't know.
accident.
That's
That
not
was
my
it.
depraved mind.
That wasn't me.
What
We
about-
already know what mine looks like.
What about your monkey?
My monkey?
Remember? It was like way long ago. You had a
Oh, you mean back when I was a player
Yeah.
and I actually had stuff to
Killed your
do?
monkey?
No, I didn't kill my monkey. No, that was somebody else who killed my monkey.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
It was
awful.
the worst thing that ever happened, and it gave you
And
room
that,
for
and,
growth.
and that monkey did nothing wrong. All he did was look at it and be like, "Hey, what do you think about that?" He goes, "Eh."
We'll get back
It was
to
just indifferent.
We'll get back to the D&D people later.
Yes.
I have a question actually for Nova.
Yeah.
When you originally created Rain in our campaign, did you intend him to just be an NPC? Because that.
Okay? Are you talking about when we did that campaign the
Well, that
first
was
time a
because you were
decade
the
ago?
DM. Yeah.
I was a DM, but we all traded off being DMs at that time. Remember?
No.
Yeah. We all traded off being DMs, so everybody got to play their character and everybody got to run stuff. It was Wild Wild West back
I
then.
don't remember.
It was a decade ago.
That was
Sometimes I like to make him make NPCs into main characters in our party, but he was playing them and he tried to kill them, and then I started crying.
Oh yeah.
He ripped up their character sheet. He was gonna kill them. I know. I'm sorry. I can't help it. And then I was crying.
It's that she still has feelings about it.
I love that character. My character made them her boyfriend, and then he was going to kill them, and then
I did literally tear
he
the
was going
character.
to, and I threatened to throw my character into the virtual ocean.
I literally was like, and she immediately started crying.
Legit, I'm not even kidding. I was crying.
I was just like, I feel awful. I have to fix that now.
Gotta get the tape.
No, I took it together and I wrote a new character sheet.
that kind of connection can only happen when you work together.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah.
You didn't tell me you were gonna.
No, why would he tell you that?
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't an NPC,
spoilers.
he wasn't a player.
Also spoilers.
Yes, it's
Anyway,
okay.
All right.
Sorry.
So we have the character. We got the base. We got what we like, what we want to do. Now we actually get to playing the character and role playing the character, which is not necessary. It is, you know, an RPG and a role playing game. But I will say this: you don't have to do the full role play. You know, like you would see in, you know, like if you watched someone else play or
Like an accent or something.
If you watch, you know, a streamed game for an audience, they would obviously, you know, ham it up and perform. You don't have to perform.
Yeah, because
at
most
a
people are
home
playing with their
game.
friends or playing with people they know and
Yeah,
in the comfort of their home. You don't
Yeah,
have to.
you do what you want at that point, you know, within reason.
But it does add tremendous.
Pizzazz.
So we've been doing this for 6 years now. You know, performing D&D and other tabletop for an audience, and it just doesn't hit. It doesn't hit the same if we did it now.
I mean, I
Like
don't-
going back to before, like just say like, yeah, my character does this, but at least for me, I can speak for myself on that. Like, I have to perform now.
Yeah, it makes it. It's very fun to do. And
If you want, I just enjoy myself. Like, you don't have to go above and beyond. Like, even me,
I think that's what really sets like tabletop RPGs apart
Right.
from a different kind of experiences. Like, you know, like you play Baldur's Gate 3 and you're just playing the game.
Mhm.
But when you are a star in the session, you're not playing a game anymore. You are a star, and the role playing, if you choose to do it, can really help you get into the role, and certainly, you know, changes your experience, I think, for the better.
You have fun with it.
Yeah, having fun is important.
like
That's the most important thing.
Like for instance, like with new players, like I mean, a lot of you have already played D&D, but say you have someone you want to introduce it to, they've never played before. It's okay for them to play themselves. Like there's nothing wrong with playing yourself kind of to start, like you in a fantasy world, self-insert, yeah. And then eventually once they get more comfortable, then they can start like maybe stepping out of their comfort zone and doing something a little different. So
I mean, Crafty is one of the newer members. I mean, the rest of us have had more years of experience playing D&D. Crafty has only had roughly like 7 years of experience, which is still
That's still quite a bit.
nothing to scoff at. Nothing. It's just for me, I still think back to like, you know, that first session that we did. Like I still think of that as like not that long ago.
Mhm.
Like it was like a couple weeks ago or something, or at least a year. But the fact that it's been 6 years since we started, it still has not
well, it's
registered.
because I remember her being that newer player.
Yeah.
And I could see the experiences she went through. I mean, we're all still learning. There's always so many new things they're adding.
You're always learning something.
Yeah,
no matter
and
what.
like maybe you never played this character. There's certain things where I've never played, where if I took a new character, a new class, I'd be like, I've never played this class before.
Yeah, like
Like-
the elf, the Eladrin elf that I
Mhm.
played.
Moiraine.
Moiraine.
Yeah.
She was a seasonal elf, so she went from fall to summer to spring to winter, and each season was a mood. When she was winter, all blue and was just mopey and depressed. When she was spring, green and just aloof and just happy and like I think she was the one that did the fireball in the bar.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Classic,
she was like, oh,
classic.
fireball, okay,
And
and
like-
I pretty much murdered everybody.
We weren't even there. I wasn't there to stop you. And then I came in and was like, what?
Yeah.
You actually did it good because it ended up being some kind of like
It
And,
actually
and
worked
it
out.
ended up being like, you know,
You're welcome.
a bad place that we
a
should
bad
have
place
stopped
that everybody in there deserved to die,
Yeah.
except for like one person who didn't die.
But no, yeah, like
Funny how
that,
that worked
We
out.
saved him.
it worked out, but with that, from my character from before Sochi to this character, Moiraine, and then when we were playing the best friends,
Yeah, when you were Florence Adler.
Florence, I liked Flo. She was French, so I kind of gave it like a little slightly French accent. I tried my best. I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
did
I did
good.
okay. You know, and she was a flapper girl, you know, so she was wild, which I had fun with.
That was during our Call of Cthulhu sessions.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do all kinds of tabletop here. D&D is just a good way to encompass it, and so everybody knows what you're talking about. If you tell somebody like, hey, I was just playing Call of Cthulhu, people are like, what the hell is that? What did you just say to me? And it's just like, it's D&D. Oh, okay, I know what that is. You know, but we love all tabletops here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to break out of the characters that I do. I want to do something more different. So part of me is like,
Out of the comfort zone.
out of the comfort zone, slowly but getting there, you know?
Mhm.
So maybe I'll be a chaotic character next time, you know?
Yes,
Sounds
so-
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. And maybe I'll play a calm character. Like,
That was gonna be nice, like, that was gonna be a character.
We're all over here crossing our fingers that
What,
happens.
you want me to do? Yeah, but then
Oh,
I'm
you're gonna play a calm character?
then I'm gonna have a chaotic party.
Oh, but of course you're gonna play a calm character when I'm not DMing anymore.
Well, I don't know.
Thanks.
I want to mention a character that I played recently that I really liked. Because Baldur's Gate gave more, like, it showcased Githyanki's. So I never knew anything about Githyanki's. And then Baldur's Gate, I was like, oh, okay. Like, no one ever talks about Githyanki's, I feel like. And then so I ended up playing one in like a one shot, and it was one of my favorites because I got to be so like gruff and like. I kind of, and speak Gith, I like looked up a bunch of words for it because I was really excited, and I was just using words here and there like they would say, and I was like looking at Baldur's Gate stuff, and
See,
it was
that's
super
another
fun.
that's another good way to role play too. Is like being able to do a voice or an accent is fantastic, and you know that's a huge thing. And if you want to show that off, show it off, absolutely. And nobody should ever make you feel bad for trying. For trying to do that, because you're trying to get into character. You're trying to be the character.
Yeah, if you're, if you're
and-
ever playing with people, sorry, I was just
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm sorry, I didn't know when you were gonna stop. I just want to say, if you're ever playing with people who make you feel bad for trying something or playing with something, they're not the right group for you.
Yeah, leave that table or talk to the DM first, and
And
then
then leave the table.
if
Yeah.
it does not get resolved, then leave it.
Unless it is the DM, then that's also.
Yeah, if it's the DM, leave the table.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've been promoted to DM. Start your own campaign.
100%. But I mean, with like even just using like certain words and stuff like that, just like Logic said with looking up some gift words, even if she didn't do like the gruff sounding voice and she just used the words, already that upgrades the believability of the character.
I did that for Malin too.
Huh?
I did that for Malin too.
Yes, and she also looked up some Chinese words because she played a Chinese woman. Which, by the way, this is.
Or are you gonna
So-
plug us?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna plug our sponsors for that thing. They were Sons of Singularity. We are actually in their new book that just came out.
Yeah.
The Sassoon Files, the second edition of it. Their characters that they played in the 5-part miniseries are in the book. So that's a big flex. So just gonna flex over
If
here real
you
quick.
play the Call of Cthulhu tabletop, go look up the Sons of Singularity. They have they have campaigns for it. We're in one of them, like literally.
Their characters are in
Yeah.
it, and they're part of the story.
It was really
They're
fun.
actual like NPCs or pre-gen characters you can play as.
Mhm.
It's so sick, and even their faces are in the book. Not me though. I didn't get in. I just ran the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
me
were, they
neither.
were kind
I was
enough
cool
to give us the the book early before it was done, so we could play it for them on stream.
I like the test run of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think we're the only ones who actually streamed it.
Were we?
We're the only ones who
was
actually
so fun.
streamed
It
our
was
gameplay.
fun.
It was a full playtest. We played through the whole book that they gave us.
If you guys like spooky mystery kind of campaigns, I think you guys will
Call of
like.
Cthulhu is
Yeah.
the tabletop.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also Sons of Singularity write good books, and
Yeah.
they're easy to understand.
They're not easy to win though.
They're
Like you might
That's Call of
die.
Cthulhu. Like Call of Cthulhu, you're just like a regular dude, like handling supernatural like threats, and so like you could accidentally die just so easily, just like, oh well, I guess that's it.
It's like, oh, I rolled a 55. That my number to beat was a 50. You have to roll lower.
Yeah.
So I guess I die then. And it's just like,
You do have to roll
Yeah,
over,
you
don't you?
yeah, you have to roll lower.
You have to
You
roll
roll
a
a D100.
Yeah, and it's based on your
I
stats.
almost died, but I was
Several
trying
times.
to die.
Didn't
You
you
died in
character
the first
died?
one.
I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
Well,
Did you get-
Because we did 2 campaigns.
Did she get eaten or shot in the
I
head?
had to.
She got shot in the head in the first one.
Ah, yes.
I had certain reasons.
The
that I had to,
trauma.
That's why, but.
I mean, it felt pretty good to do that. Sorry.
Characters don't
I'm
die
going to
alive.
play mine again. Do I have a problem?
All right.
But yeah, that was
Anyways,
fun.
back on the tracks. So, when it comes to a character, you can do so many things with roleplay. You can cosplay. You can change the cadence of your speech just by changing how I speak. This is a different character. Also, voices. A lot of people think that like doing voices is like you have to be so drastically different and have an accent, and you have to really get up there and just shout to the rooftops, and you got to really be in. Literally, this is how easy it is to do it in voice. I'll show you. All right, so now now we're talking like this. It's just like that. I just pitched my voice up a little bit. That's a different voice. If I go down here, this is a different voice. Completely different voice. Nobody else has this voice. Or maybe somebody has this voice. Or maybe somebody has this voice or something. I'm not sure.
Just
I bet
play
you-
around.
Or maybe
Yeah.
somebody has this voice. I don't know. Yeah.
I bet no one could ever guess who the DM at this group is.
Right. Who could it be? Who could it be?
I mean, he's like in the middle.
Yeah, take
It's
it.
because
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
biggest one. I'm pulling you all in, keeping you all
Dude.
on the high rise.
He's a really good
I'm
voice
just-
coach.
Are you saying you have a high sense, a lot of gravity?
Gravitational pull. Yeah.
You were helping me. He was helping me before when I was playing. We were playing Sea of Stars. If anyone ever played that game, he was helping me do a pirate voice. He's such a good coach because sometimes you need a little direction. Maybe look up stuff, play around with your own voice. And I was able to kind of get that like piratey voice for the character I was voicing.
Yes, you
It
can
was
put a
really
voice.
fun.
You can put a voice anywhere. You can put it like up in your nose like this, and then all of a sudden it's a different voice. And I'm not really trying that hard to get the voice up here. I just am putting my voice up here.
Yeah, you're great. We get it.
I can do it. No, I love hearing all his voices. I know these characters.
I'm not trying to say that.
It enhances the experience. We have someone who can do that. It only makes it better.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
great.
And that's
It
the
adds
benefit.
so much to the
Yeah.
story.
But
Yeah,
I'm
the
showing
game.
that it's not as difficult as you might think to do voices. So a lot of people think like, oh, voice acting, oh my God, I can never do that.
Right.
People have so many different voices, but most of the time voice actors are billed for the exact voice that they have.
Yeah.
They're not billed to do something different. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes they got to put on a British accent, or maybe they do Russian or something, I'm not sure. But, you know, and it only takes practice. It's not as difficult as it may seem.
What always amazes me is like the Australian actors who you don't find out they're Australian until like 5
Till they get,
minutes
like, a
in,
word.
and you're like,
Yeah.
like, you just sound the same. How is that possible?
They just a lot of practice.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, and it's a lot of coaching and stuff like that. But like I said, with role playing a character, you don't have to be the greatest voice actor in the world. You don't have to know every single accent. You can.
You don't even have to do one.
You don't even have to do one. Like I said, pitching your voice or changing the cadence of your speech can already just maximize and make you sound like a different character, and can also get one of your fellow players to be like, oh, I caught that. You sound different, and now that gets me into my character. And that's another thing with other players. Get your fellow players revved up, get them hyped to roleplay. That's another thing. Like, pull somebody in for a conversation, like you guys are at a bar or a tavern or whatever, and you know the face of the party, the one who talks all the time, is sitting there with the barbarian who doesn't say words, and then he just goes, "What do you think about that?" And you just pull him in and like give him major whiplash. But yeah, you just pull them in. You don't even have to touch.
Like
Consent is
physically,
key.
you don't have to, but I mean, if you want.
Consent is
It's
important.
consent, and they say hey, it's okay.
Always consent.
But I want to go back to like dressing up in cosplay. If you want to do that, it's really fun. I have a character in one of our
In our Patreon game.
Yeah, her name's Dolce Diamond, and I dressed up as her for a while. I haven't had time lately because, you know, we're working, we're doing D&D in between, and
We record the sessions, we literally come like straight from work.
yeah. So I was dressing up as her before, but I got a wig, I did makeup, I did cosplay because I feel like it helped me like get into my character. And it was fun. It kind of made me feel like you're becoming that character. You don't have to dress up, it's completely optional, but I know I see some cosplayers in here, so if you guys want to dress up your D&D characters, by all means, do it.
I mean, I've never, well, I can't say that I've never cosplayed, but I've never cosplayed to the degree like I see some of you out here. Like, I am jealous and envious of some of what you guys put together. It is just absolutely mind-blowing. You guys should be applauded for your work. And what I do in that same campaign, because I actually get to play in that one, I dress up as my character, but my character literally has a bandana, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Squirtle shirt, and Pokeball pants. I don't know if you know what type of game we're talking about now, but you don't. Nintendo, you can't get us.
Wait.
$5 in the face.
They're monsters and they fit in my pocket. Is what the campaign may or may not be about.
Yeah, you
That
throw
character, you have Pokemon pants when you play that?
Yes,
Yes.
you've never looked
Oh,
at my
wait,
pants.
yes.
Well, they're under the
Yes.
table.
I
I mean,
remember
how
now,
long
yes.
is
No, because I've shown them off. But
Yeah.
also when I don't
Yes.
feel like wearing it, I wear my
I mean, no one's seeing under your, like, no one's seeing
You
your
just see from
pants.
here up, that's it.
But no, like, you can, like, even if you don't know how to, put together a complex costume, you can just put on some specific clothes and then you're transported as that character.
Yeah, like my
Yeah.
character, Luna, I got inspiration from Wednesday, so I dress up kind of just dark and I try to put dark lipstick every so often. So I'm always wearing something black,
Very gothy.
very
Yeah.
coffee.
Which
Not
is the opposite
exactly
of
like
my
Wednesday,
character.
but yeah,
I'm like pastel princess, spoiled.
and I'm like the opposite.
Yeah, I just got a pink hair wig.
Pink and blue, it's like cotton
Yeah,
candy.
pink and blue, like cotton
She
candy.
looks like a spoiled rich girl, which she is.
She is.
She is, and she's the worst.
Wow.
Just like
Yeah, my
her.
character
Yeah,
hates her.
well,
She's so
and
bubbly.
it's even like pitching up your voice. I think I do that for Dolce. I'm like, I'm Dolce Diamond.
Yeah, like I
Like,
said,
just like a
pitching
little-
up your
just like a
voice.
little something. It's not that much
That's a
to
different
say.
voice.
Or just sound depressed.
Like she
That's
just
not-
sounds like really like.
And that's
I mean,
cadence of speech.
Mhm.
The way you speak can change a character. Personality also can completely change a character.
Mhm.
If you adopt a personality while you're playing that character, I'm going to use Oak here as an example. And literally all I did while playing Oak here, and Crafty and Chaos can attest to this because they were in the session with me. But every time, this is the barbarian that I was pissed that I had to make, I would do this the whole time.
Just his face. He's gonna stick
Never
like that.
changed.
Almost
Yeah.
stuck like that.
I was like
Always
this.
angry.
And you'd always go like,
And
hit
it's,
yourself.
Oak, you're strongest. And yeah, I really hit myself, and that actually really hurt.
That was-
Yeah,
That was a good
It's
one.
like that's, you can hear it.
I'm not hollow like a watermelon. But no, like, just like adopting a personality can change how you roleplay as a character too. And again, like we said too, it's okay to not want to roleplay, to not be comfortable with it. It's okay.
baby steps.
Yeah, but if you want to, we've given you some steps that you can take and some little things that you can do. Just throw them in every now and then. It's very important for DMs, especially if you want to engage your players more. You want to be able to pull them in with those different personalities. And then also it works, especially with, I'm going to jump a little bit ahead with BBEGs.
You want to explain what that acronym means?
Big bad evil guy or girl.
Big bad.
We don't judge here. You can have villains of all genders, but with personality and cadence of speech, you can really get yourself like a really good villain, a real slimy one that you just really don't like. You just really want to hate him,
And all your players hate him too.
and all you want to make all your players hate
And
him
you
too.
can't fight him because you're level 1 and you're like, no.
You're just like, oh, you really want to just.
You're like, I'm too weak for this right
Who's the
now.
one that we hate right now?
Asriel.
Asriel. Asriel, that's what
And also be prepared for your player, this is for the DMs out there, is be prepared for your players to make fun of your villain's name
Like
all
Xanax?
the time. Xanax.
Is it Xanax or Xanax?
It's Xanax. It's
Xanax,
an
but we
S.
always say Xanax.
Xanax is a drug.
That
That one's on me.
So you like,
He said
oh, no, it's
Xanax,
an
and I was
S.
like, oh, Xanax, yeah, the
That's right,
villain.
it's already with X.
Yeah. Nope.
And then also people said Sanic, as in like Sonic the Hedgehog, And I'm just like,
You made that name for us.
it's
to
one of
make
those.
fun
It's one of those things where it's like I'm like, oh, Xanax sounds like such a cool, edgy name, and he's so bad, he's so evil, he's genocidal. Wow, everyone's just gonna hate him. And it's just like Xanax, and it's like
he's a muscle relaxer.
and then it's just like, oh my god.
And the players will always find a way.
Sometimes your players are just so unserious, and they just want to make fun of your villains and be
So
like,
I mean,
you know.
in that campaign I played one serious character and one very not serious character, so.
Yeah, but I mean, like, with villains, like, being able to make them believable is a really important thing. I guess we can talk about villains and NPCs right now.
Yeah.
We pretty much covered role play.
Yeah.
We gave you guys a good list. Do you guys feel comfortable about role play? Yeah? Thumbs up, snaps, claps, I don't know, either way. All right, so engagement.
You just, like, if you've never done it, just try it a little, see how it goes.
Yeah, throw a little bit in.
Yeah, why not? What's the worst that happens? You're not good at it? Oh well.
You can stop halfway through.
You don't have to role play in order to have fun at D&D.
Nope.
It just is something that can accentuate and enhance the fun.
Sentence enhancers.
Like Neo for water.
No, it's a SpongeBob joke.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't want SpongeBob. I know. Don't come at me with pitchforks. I
Oh
know.
my god. Did you eat from
Terrible.
childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But NPCs. This is super important because that's everybody else that your players are going to be interacting with. I'm specifically speaking to the DMs now, but players, it's also good to hear about this too, because then you can know the struggle that it is to be a DM. But also, this is something for you to think about when creating NPCs surrounding your character, like your character's brother, sister, mother, father, son, daughter, doesn't matter. Just characters around your character to make them feel more lived in, have a much stronger backstory. That being said, not every NPC is important. Not everyone is. You want a couple, one like king of a nation. Yeah, you want to flesh that guy out a little bit more. You want to have a royal lineage. You want to know who his father was. And maybe if you really want to, you want to know his father's father as well. Yes?
So, has there been an occasion in a game where like you guys spent too much time like fleshing out an NPC? Like, has it ever happened?
Too much time fleshing out an NPC for it to ultimately go nowhere? Absolutely. 100%. It has happened. But luckily, a cool hack you can do as a DM is you just reuse it for something else. You just take that work that you use, you just put it somewhere else, change a couple things, and bam, it's brand new, because they don't know. Nobody knew. So like, especially like if like you spent all this time fleshing out this king of a nation, and your player's just like, I want to kill him. And it's just like,
I'm gonna assassinate the king.
I really, really wish you wouldn't. It's like, I'm gonna do it.
Punch him.
And then they kill the king, and it's like great.
But they were wanted criminals and were running.
I mean, then there's a lot of other things that go
Listen,
involved.
the consequences of your actions is all part of the story,
But if you worked so hard to flesh out a certain character and they were plot relevant, and you wanted to have that plot thing happen with that NPC,
and then your players did one of these, because that's how tabletops work. It's a collaborative story, so you may have plot relevance characters and plot points and plot, things that you think should happen, and then your players just go backwards instead, and you're just like, okay, I guess we're going this way now.
They may never meet that NPC.
Yeah, exactly. You could make an NPC that never gets talked about or ever met.
They never went that way, and
Yeah.
they just decided they didn't want to.
That is the struggle of being a DM, because like it's not. We talked a lot about this last year, which was that it's not you're not telling a story, right? It's not a pre-written story that you're telling. It's a collaborative story that you have to play with your players. You can guide them, but ultimately all the decisions on this stuff is up to them. They're going to do whatever they want. Yes.
From what I kind of learned as like my brief sense of the DM is like one person told me that it's like a playground. It's like you have all of your toys out on the field, and then okay, who wants to play with something? You kind of like move towards that instead of like everyone can build a pattern and like it's like think of it as like a playground.
I am stealing that analogy from now on.
that is 100% a way to do it because for the players, it feels less like you're trying to railroad them into something, and more so making a story about that. This isn't my story, but I know Brendan Lee Mulligan has told this story about his time in Dimension 20, where there was a certain way that something was going to go. I don't remember the full story by heart, but I'm going to paraphrase. To where there was some certain thing they had to do, but then they noticed that this princess was unhappy at her wedding, and so they made the whole campaign about getting her away from him. So it's similar to exactly what you were saying. I deconstruct that sentence. I have ADD, leave me alone. Don't look at me. But no.
Everyone's looking at you.
Sorry. But yeah, no, it's pretty much the same thing. It's like you focus the story what your players are more engaged in. If you're trying to engage your players and they're just not feeling what you're throwing, find out what they are engaged with and go with that.
Yeah.
That's always a better plan.
Mm-hmm. I personally don't like being railroaded. I don't like being railroaded yet. Well, he did. I don't like being.
It's just a standard.
Yeah, I don't like being railroaded. I like when my DM lets me do what I want, and then the consequences of my actions will come as I go. Like in the recent session we played of our campaign, we came back to after like forever. We're like in this spooky Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, and then there's like animatronics. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to play this game as intended because they're like, you need 500 million points. I'm like, that's not possible. I'm gonna go steal. And then so I immediately like run over and I go to where the counter is and I'm going to steal everything. And then they start attacking me. Like, what did I think was gonna happen? I knew what was gonna happen, so I started combat for the entire party. Sorry guys. Like that happens. Like I'm like, did you expect me to do that? He's like, kinda. Like I love asking him after. What did you expect to go wrong today? What did you
I generally give a pretty comprehensive list because
yeah, he's like,
I have faith. I have faith that they'll do good. But I also know them. And I know they're gonna mess
it was
shit
my
up.
ultra chaotic character.
But there's always something we do that you don't think about.
True.
Also, you made me mad because the prizes weren't real. It was for nothing.
It was a haunted arcade. What did you expect?
I wanted that gun.
Getting back to the topic of NPCs, is something I've been, because I've only, I DM'd my first campaign here with this group because I never DM'd before. Creating NPCs as a DM is giving me finally an out for all the characters I wish I could play, right? Because God, I have so many characters that I wish I could play. And when you DM, you get to play them. At least, even if it's just for a little bit, you still get to play them. And it's almost cathartic in a way to have all these ideas and then just rip off an NPC real quick. Like, this is Jake the Dog Man. Like whatever.
Wonder where you got that from.
I don't know. Adventure Time.
Yeah.
But there's only so much time to play, and sometimes when you're a character, you are that character, and you're kind of, I wouldn't say stuck, but like that's the character you're going to play for however long the session is, until you don't want to play that character anymore. Because that's certainly an option. If you're not vibing a character, you can definitely go to here and be like, I'm not feeling this character, I want to do something different. Totally valid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've done that a few times.
But yeah, so I would say if you really enjoy the character creation aspect, if that's something that is enticing to you, like making worlds with your characters, I would say try PMing. Even if it's like something short, simple, it gives you an
One
opportunity.
shot.
Yeah, it gives you such an opportunity to just like make like 5-10 different characters and use them all at some point. Maybe. Because you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's world-building NPCs, there's shopkeepers, those are, infamous, just the person that's behind the counter that sells them stuff that everybody's gonna try to either seduce or try to get a bargain on.
Yeah,
Or just
Seduce for a
Or
bargain.
straight up steal or kill.
Threaten, haggle, seduce, they're gonna do, all your shopkeepers are gonna just get it all.
And there was also, again, throwaway NPCs like we talked about earlier, like Dave the guy on the street. Especially, like I said, if your players just keep asking you for random ones, here is and that goes along with creating an NPC on the fly. And I'm going to give you my biggest secret when it comes to creating an NPC on the fly: name generator. Always have one available. In fact, get like 30.
You wouldn't
Write them on a
generate
paper.
a name.
You wouldn't generate a car. So generate like 30 names. Write them down, and then as soon as you use one, check it and assign it to where you put it. Because odds are your players are going to want to go back and check on Dave the guy on the street and see how Dave the guy on the street is doing. Because they all of a sudden care about Dave the guy on the street when you really shouldn't care about Dave the guy on the street.
But Dave is a good guy.
He has a family.
Dave saved my dad from the car accident.
Save my dog.
He's just on a rough part in his life, and he needs all the help he can get.
Like, was Slip Funky gonna be relevant? Like,
That's another character. Because our first campaign that we ever did was based off of Sword Art Online, so it's a lot of video game screen names. That I had a field day. I had so many screen names that I could use. I just generated a ton. And I was just like, oh man, I got like 150 of these. Oh, I'm gonna be doing it. I was like, Slip Funky, okay, there's one. And then there was an entire arc about this Slip Funky V. He was a guy who was just like down on his luck, and he's like, I want to be important, I want to be a hero. And they're like, well, you need to really see yourself as the hero, the Slip Funky. So he changed his name from Slip Funky to the Slip Funky. And he was such an enigma that they kept asking, like every few sessions, they're like, how's the Slip Funky doing? And I'm just like, I don't know, you don't know where he is. You didn't put him on your friends list, so you don't know where he is. He could be dead. And they're just like, no, this Slip Funky has to be alive. And recently, after 6 years, we did a session going back to that original campaign, taking place 5 years after the finale. And the Slip Funky, I had to put him in. He was there.
yeah.
So they saw that he got rich, and he was living at large. So the Slip Funky continued. So
Is he back in the place?
His story arc is basically completed.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
good. He's looking
So
good.
he was a throwaway NPC that turned into a very important one. Yes.
Sorry. In my campaign right now, I just finished a session recently, and
Uh-huh.
talking about throwaway characters. My party kind of, I'm DMing, and my party kind of like took this random guy that I had no writing for, no notes, no anything. And thankfully, the session ended there. So I didn't have to make something up improv on the spot. Because I really thought this guy would just be a one-off, just kill him and move on.
Yeah.
They Boblin the Goblin, Tim. That's the classic example. Is
But at
they
least-
adopt the Goblin into the party, and it's like this is supposed to be something you kill, and now you want him to be a party member.
Yeah.
But at least you got the time to write notes for it now.
Yeah. But
That's
I was
the
wondering,
blessing.
How should I proceed with that, though?
How should you proceed?
What do you want to do with him? He's your character, so
I have zero clue still.
So what's his name?
I made one up on the spot as they were meeting. I'm like, oh, Stipple.
Stipple?
Yeah.
What is he, like a kobold?
This is a homebrew D&D, so he's kind of like a military raider person.
Okay.
I personally like taking the characters that they attach themselves onto, keeping them in the story, making them care about them, and then ripping them away.
I did that with
I
a
had that
kobold.
doc.
So, I mean, it's certain. Listen, it gets them to. If they're invested in that character and they want to be, in that NPC, if they want his life to be intertwined with theirs now, take that, make his life intertwined with it, and then break it.
So he's military, right? So is there a current war going on or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's fighting the war. He's got a family at home. Talk about how he's waiting to see his wife and daughter. Oh, he can't wait, and just keep building up, keep him in the party, and then eventually get them close to where he comes from. Pick wherever you want. And then like right before, or be even meaner.
Or you could be nice and reunite. It's, you know, it's
Have
up to
him
you.
reunite, or you could have him reunite and then kill him. Then kill him afterwards.
You guys are so mean.
I'm depraved. We've already
we're
gone over
getting-
this.
That's
Where's the
literally
fun in that?
one of the bullet points right there. We're getting there.
We're getting there. This is how you be mean. This is how you be evil.
Also, I don't know if we touched on it yet, but like cliches are totally fine.
Yeah, cliches can be fun, 100%. Cliches can be fun, and having like one character I had, he was just a kobold, but I wanted to introduce like gem
Are you
kobolds.
talking about Nurple?
Yes, I'm talking about Nurple. He was a purple kobold named Nurple,
Purple Nurple.
son of Titty, and his last name was Twister. So his son of Titty Twister, Nurple Twister, purple kobold, and he sounded like this the whole time. And my players just attached themselves to him. They didn't play in that one. That was a viewer-led campaign. But they got so attached to him to the point where like they basically adopted him. And then in like the second to last session, I murdered him.
But
And everybody cried, including me, because I felt bad. And then they sent me a mini of his corpse in a coffin, saying like, "This is what you did."
Look at
You didn't know that there's a
No.
where are
He
you?
just doesn't. He doesn't know
It's
things.
in there.
It's there.
Yeah, it's
It's a
a
little cardboard coffin. You open up and there's a nerve.
there's a dead purple kobold. They sent me his corpse like, "This is what you did."
Was this like at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
That's why I
Were
don't
you
know
not
about
there?
it.
Was you not there for those sessions?
That's why I don't know about that.
See, and the best part is that's just one way you can go with it.
Wait, but you didn't talk about what after.
Well, spoilers. I mean, I guess spoilers. I told them that I killed
You already
him.
told me you killed them. If they watch it, they're gonna find out.
I mean, but it was one of those things where it's like, he was so important to the party, and they used him to further the story and further their goals and help them, because he was able to get them a audience with a god, the creator god, and nobody has ever been able to do that. But this tiny purple kobold can. So I brought like a lot of importance to this character. He's an extremely important character. And then afterwards, I was just like, yeah, that whole thing, kind of drained him of his energy, and he died because of it. And I was able to make it to where they gave lasting words, and it was very sweet, it was very sad, and I was just like, he's dead.
I think like having some character deaths in the story, not necessarily players, but like other NPCs being attached to is kind of important. Like
Yeah.
in a sense, because I think it like
It could
what is the
reunite
word,
the
like
group. if
yeah,
they're
it could
Right.
like give a little
That's
something.
And
the glue of the
your situation is kind of the culmination of what we've been talking about, right? They are clearly want more to do with this character. You can zero in on the fact that they care about this character, even if it's just because they're being silly, right? So now you can integrate them, that character into the story, give them an arc, give them some, a goal that they can meet, and you can even align that goal with your players, and that way, if the character dies prematurely or not, maybe your characters feel like they have to complete his mission for him, or they have to go with him to complete his mission, etc.
It also becomes a good tool, like especially if like you spent a lot of time, and this isn't necessarily railroading, but it could be seen a little bit as. But if you want your players to go a certain direction, put that NPC they love in danger in that direction. See how fast they run to it.
Yeah.
Watch how fast.
If you want to
It'll be very fast.
I mean, you can also like bring them back, like in a weird, convoluted, like for instance, you brought Rain back, technically because I cried.
That's because you cried.
That's because you
I
said
tried.
you would kill your character
I
and
was-
everybody else in the party.
That's-
And I don't know how you would have done
You think
that.
my character would? She would have done it.
100%.
She was crazy. She still is
100%.
crazy.
I think you're crazy.
I like
Yes.
things like that.
I'm going to do my best to articulate this. Bear with me.
No worries.
You talk, a lot of this has been talking about, from the DM side of things, for reference, I've just been DMing my first campaign. And talk a lot about having players that are slightly chaotic, and how as a DM you have to kind of learn how to work with that. Or this is a great example. Hey, you know, oftentimes parties find an NPC that they are themselves latching onto, and I guess my whole issue is, boy, I wish I had those problems. I seem to have the exact opposite issues of what you guys are describing. My players, I feel like I do everything I can not to railroad, and yet I'm not getting enough engagement, so I ultimately end up having to really handhold and do those kinds of things. I'm really at a loss as to how I can kind of engender the kind of things that you guys are talking about.
Well,
that's pretty difficult, honestly, because that's you know, getting your players to play can be somewhat difficult. I have a little bit of experience with this because one of my first DMing experiences was actually because some of my coworkers were like, I want to play D&D, and they're like, we know you play. They're like, can you run a game for us? And I was like, sure, I've never done it, but why not?
Very, very simple.
And this isn't going to be this isn't going to go the way you want it to, but I had to explain everything to them along the way because they never played, right? And so there's a lot of me just telling them what they needed to do or what they should do for their characters, you know, mechanics-wise, right? But once we got past the mechanics, I really only had one player that cared, and the other ones did not. And I tried everything I could, and I still kind of struggled with it. And really, the only thing that got them even to care more was rewarding the player who showed interest, because when he was better than them, then they cared because they didn't want to let that happen. That was kind of the only thing I had success with. Yeah. Them because they were all coworkers, so like one person being better, they didn't want to have that.
So I guess it just
Are
depends
you
on.
talking like straight up you let one player level up as opposed to
No, I would reward him. You know, he was the one who got the cool sword.
Okay.
Yeah, give like really awesome items and
Not necessarily like game-breaking stuff, but like, you know, his reward, he participated and he got a reward for it. And, you know, I straight up told him, like, yeah, like, he was there, so that's why he got it. That kind of worked for me. That game didn't last too long, so I couldn't see where I could go from there.
Do you have like one player that seems more engaged than the others, or are they all seem kind of?
Yeah, I have 4 players. 2 of them never touched D&D before in their lives. 2 decently well experienced. Of those 2, 1 extroverted chaos goblin. I've had to do all of those things and rein that person in.
Right.
Other is just naturally an introvert. They'll all say that he's made great strides in coming out of his shell in my campaign, which makes me feel great. So I've got that mix. But so it's a 3-to-1 ratio in terms of people who are kind of, I feel like, sitting back and just letting me pull them along in the wagon, and you know, I've got the little yappy dog that's kind of nipping at my heels while I do that. So
one thing I would say is have a conversation. Communication is key. Have a conversation with them and ask them like, hey, I've noticed that you're not engaging as much. Is there anything that I can do to up that, to, you know, help pull you into the game a bit more? Or is this just how you vibe? Because sometimes there are people who just vibe.
Yeah, like
and they just sit back
yeah.
and don't do anything.
Like things they want to see, maybe things they're interested in, and like, I mean, I don't know what your story is.
no,
I don't know
and
your setting
that's
is.
exactly right. And I've done that. I have to do this online, so a lot of it's
okay.
like Google Doc questionnaire kind of stuff, and one-on-one conversations that I've had outside of session.
Okay.
Sounds like there's no answer, but I just wanted to.
Sometimes there is. That's the thing.
Right.
It's really a tough situation, and sometimes the best decision is to disband the group. That's sometimes the best
I
decision.
apologize. It's nowhere near that kind of.
Okay, it's not
Okay.
now. Okay.
No, we've been going for
Okay.
6 months.
I think
it's only getting stronger.
Yeah,
I was
I
just
think
trying to capitalize on the momentum I'm seeing.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
taken 6 months to even kind of start moving in that direction.
Well, start thinking of like some things that you think would excite them, like entice them more with cool monsters, cool loot.
My current plan is to quite literally drop them into a bottomless pit into the Feywilds and see what happens. So
Beautiful. fool. Don't go to the theater.
That'll be fine.
Don't go to the theater.
I saw.
I think you'll be alright.
I think there was a group on the shy side as well, and I would just, it would just be like pulling teeth, to really get them to like really respond. So I would just occasionally just like not bully them, but kind of bully the character, like have out of the blue have somebody take his weapon and then just like have the shy character just kind of go off, follow them to the streets, and because you know, you kind of get attached to your weapons. So
Yeah,
just having
it's not a
skills,
bad idea.
That's what I did. Or
Take their power somehow.
or yeah, exactly. Just trying to okay, the rest of the group, they're trapped. What do? And just have that little like brief one-on-one session. Okay, you're that one. Who was that? Was the guy that played the Punisher, and then
Oh, John Bernthal and Deborah Wall.
that one scene is like, okay, you're like having that little one-on-one time. It's like, okay, you're in the woods, you see a bear, and then you kind of talk to the bear. Like that type of thing. Having that little one-on-one interaction, just even it could be like 15 minutes worth of just like one-on-one. So you could just be really, really shy, or just kind of like bully them, just like bully the character.
A little push.
Like a little nudge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. Thank you. I
Exactly.
Yeah.
If like have like a rogue character who's like steal his weapon, or and then like the rest of the group will like help with his perception checks, or like you know it's kind of like really you know, and then yeah, just trying to get them really engaged. You know, to that one-on-one time too. You know, there are like new players, just like okay, how do you really play? You know, we haven't had that one-on-one time, so that's what I've kind of done in the past.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's a good way to do it. I mean, and also if we're talking cliches, you can always do a dream sequence.
Right.
Everybody loves a good dream sequence. That's not really part of the thing, but you remember it all.
Yeah.
It's in your head.
I want to mention as like a player, I don't DM. I've never DM'd. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about
You should.
DMing. Like I'm a little like I'm just don't know everything. I feel like, but I guess that's
No,
the hard
I
part of.
think
I know. I'm just like always nervous. So
You
actually,
can just fake the rest.
I do. I want to. Yeah. Maybe eventually.
That's what we do.
I mean, I've been playing for a decade. I've never DM'd, but I do want to DM a tabletop called Cataclysm. But everyone's cats.
We love
I'll
all
eventually
TTRPGs
play it.
here.
I'll eventually play it. I kickstarted. It was really. I just haven't played it in years. But I mean,
Yeah,
I
I've
want to.
been waiting. You pitched it to me like years
I know,
ago.
but it's in storage. That's why I don't have it, and I can't get to that
Go
storage
get it,
right
go
now.
get it.
Well, maybe this year. Maybe this year.
We'll do it tomorrow.
I can probably find it if I can buy digital online. I'll do that. But I want to talk as a player, like basically about me as a player personally. When Crafty first started, I personally like to when I see them not engaging as much, I engage with them as a player. So maybe even talking to them when it does all the thing and saying, hey, try to get them engaged. Pull them in. Ask them, talk to them. Hey, where do you want to go?
And, you know,
You can do it.
Seems like I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, you know, tell them good job. Like, it's kind of crazy how
Mhm.
like after a session, if like a player comes up to you and goes like, I enjoyed that. Like, dude, there's no better feeling in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Award inspiration, something
Yeah.
that I forget to do all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you tell your players like, hey, like that was a great session. You did great.
Have your other players tell your other players good job.
I have.
That was something, especially with new players. I think like I would be like, that was good. That was good. Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
incredibly lucky. All my players are very. They don't know each other, but they're super.
Oh, that's so
supportive of each
good.
other, and
That's
it's-
awesome.
That's amazing,
Always
especially
good.
since they don't
It
know
sounds
each
like I'm
other.
on the right track.
Yes.
with you guys.
100%.
And I want to mention also like being careful with like I don't DM, but of spreading out rewards, because I would get upset when I'd see another player getting rewarded for no reason, and I'd be like, what? And then they're like, yeah, I mean, I've happened in another DM that I don't play with anymore, but I would see them like favoritism, right? You don't want to do too much favoritism. You want to give everyone an equal chance to shine, and if they're like, because or else it's gonna make the other players bitter towards that one that's getting all the good stuff. You're like, why are they getting all these good? Like
Everybody's your favorite.
yes, everyone's your favorite. Try not
Everybody's
to.
your favorite.
Try to be like.
Speaking of favorites, let's talk about what should be your favorite NPC as a DM, which is the BBEG, your villain.
Oh man, chills. literal chills.
I-
This is such a good thing to talk
Yeah,
about.
your villain should be your most important character as a DM, that you know, that has the most story around them and, you know, story for them, because basically your villain is, you know, the character you will be playing the most, and in the most dramatic ways and in the most important scenarios as a DM, you know, and eventually it culminates in the fight where evil triumphs, or your heroes either defeat him or not, or maybe you're playing a reverse campaign and he's the hero and you guys are the evil.
Which is also possible. That is also a good way to do it.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't
murder
think we've
hobo
done one of
campaigns.
those, like-
We have not done one
That
of
sounds
those.
fun. I would like to do one of those actually. Although my character's already trying to do that in a good campaign.
Yeah.
But with villains, you want them to be believable, because being evil for the sake of evil is fine. You get people like, oh God, he's evil, but like to really do evil things, you gotta skirt some lines.
Yeah, like war crimes.
War crimes, genocide.
Like horrible,
Of
horrible
course, don't
stuff.
stick on those topics for too long, because depending on comfortability with your players, and that's why session zero is always important, communication is key.
Yeah, like if there's certain things that maybe could be a trigger that would just like say, hey, tell me,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
And one thing I want to say that we should just get rid of completely in D&D is SA. That it completely get rid of that. Anybody who wants to, like, you know,
Yeah,
People, yeah.
to, you know, make you uncomfortable in that way, you should probably leave that table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it
that's
doesn't have.
taking it too
There's
far.
no reason.
I think you can reference it happening, but I think that's like the furthest you should.
Yeah.
I think, and even then, it's like, that's still skirting the line very, very.
I think that's that's.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't even include that in.
Well, to be fair, like I think the hobgoblins, like you're pillaging villages, we know what's happening.
Yeah, but like that's what I mean.
But like
by
it's
referencing,
not like it's like
pillage.
mild
You
justice.
pillage,
They're not
but
detailed,
like-
they're like detailing.
You don't
have to
need
detail
to,
things that
anybody who
happen.
goes into detail with that kind of stuff,
That's really.
that's big red flag.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Big red flag, don't be that guy,
Yeah,
girl,
if
or
you did that or
them.
something, I'd be like, sir. Is
Do
there
not
some-
be that person.
Huh? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I
Just be careful with certain things.
it's what's funny to me when we're sort of speaking about villains is like in the campaign that I DM our Pocket Monsters campaign.
They're coming
Our
already.
monsters that fit in small balls in your pocket.
They're square balls. Not they're
Portable
they're not circles.
monsters.
They're not circles.
Digital monster.
Portable monster balls.
Wait, they won't.
Wait,
They won't do anything.
something else.
Digital.
Yeah, mine. That's how I started the campaign. I was like my villain first. Like that was my base, right? It's like this is the bad guy, and this is what his motivations and what he wants to do, and everything he's been doing has been in the background as the players discover. And that's how I did my character. It wasn't such a overt like this is the bad guy, go stop him. It's like they're like finding out like, wow, he did that, he did this. Like,
Yeah, I hate him.
I think our natural response is like at least in this campaign.
the last session we literally ended as you guys are going to like another thing that he did. And you're like right there.
I know, on a cliffhanger, like, I don't know what, like, in this campaign we're playing, like, my character, she starts fights with everybody, cause she's like on her high horse, she's like, who are you? Like, my daddy's rich, like, stuff like
Yeah,
that, so
she's
like,
like,
I
gotta
was-
get me off everybody.
It's very exciting for me
Yes.
as the DM to have them uncover, the things that he's done, so they can be like, wow, I hate this guy. That's what I want.
Oh, I'm gonna tell my daddy about him.
Yeah,
Like,
I want them to just really not like him, and so that they are motivated to stop him.
And your players might just make fun of your villains. So
that's gonna happen to everyone.
like he stays in character really well when we're shitting all over his villains. I'm just like, you have daddy issues, like what is your problem? Like, and he's like so serious. Like, I love that he stays in the character even as I'm making
try.
fun of his characters. Like sometimes he breaks for a second because we see something really stupid.
I think the one that you guys really responded well to was Azrael. Well, yeah,
Well, from the original?
you make fun of him. I'm just saying, like
Ask
with what he did and finding out what he did is just like,
Still doing it.
and it's like,
Well,
God,
and it was like-
so evil.
Yeah, and he's one of the
Go
way
away.
you wrote that villain and played that villain is like he was never the one you could never get to him. You would get close, but you would never get to him. So when we finally were there and we're like, we're gonna beat him up. Like it was
We're gonna
so
slap him around.
cathartic. Yeah, to just be like, finally, I've got you. Come here.
It's just like the Loki scene.
Yeah.
In the Avengers. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will. And he just got wrecked hard.
Where we were leveling just for that moment.
And that's what the villain.
That's what you want your
That's what
players
you
to
want.
feel like. You want them to that be their drive, their ambition. Of course, there's going to be other villains along the way, but at the end, you're like, I finally got to this villain. I'm ready.
There's minor villains, there's henchmen, and with those you can play around a little bit more. You can like even make some of the henchmen, really likable and redeemable. And like maybe they're only working for the BBEG because it pays the bills. They got a family to feed.
And then there's other ones you like extra hate, like for something.
There's some that are like somehow might seem even more depraved than the villain themselves, and you're just like, whoa! I just have to end your entire existence right now because that's awful.
Like
I mean,
what did I do to her? I ripped her eyes out. Like
Yeah,
that?
it was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. She was
Kind of like
horrible.
one of the characters, Kiros. He was.
Key Ross.
He was a lovable
Wasn't
character. Like
Jamal
we
kind of
wanted.
evil too?
He was part
Yeah.
of our team, but then he ended up being evil, and now we're just like, I guess we gotta kill him.
Yeah,
You know how I
they
feel
was
about it?
friends, and then
We didn't want to.
He picked up an enchanted artifact, and he just turned evil.
Yeah.
Just easy
You
as that.
guys, you didn't even give me the honor of ending his life myself. You separated me.
Well, we split.
The other party ended up killing
We
him. He
spent
was my
so
friend.
long trying to find him to help him and save
Yeah.
him,
You're
and it
supposed
just
to.
didn't happen.
His backstory. Was
No, and then I didn't get to see him before he died. How could you? He was my friend. But
But
like,
but that's finally made it to this bullet point. As the DM, you gotta be the bad guy. You've got to be willing to take from your characters.
don't be too nice.
Because that sells the villain.
Or else they're gonna like kind of walk all over you in a sense.
Yeah.
Like they're
You
just like,
have to-
oh, he's not gonna kill me, right? You're like, no, I will.
You have to hit it where it hurts. You have to. It's one of those things where it's like you can be like, oh, but I don't wanna make my friend upset. I don't wanna make them cry. Sometimes
I cried.
It's worth it.
sometimes you have to make the villain more like, oh yes, I have beaten you and now I'm going to leave you alive.
You're like,
And just walk
okay.
away. And it's like the final battle's like, wait, what?
I have defeated you, and now
Sometimes you may
goodbye.
not intend to make them cry, like when he did that with that NPC, and then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you have to be able to hit them hard occasionally, especially it's just like a good example from media. We'll take inspiration from media. Raise your hand if you've seen Dragon Ball Z. Okay, so you'll remember the scene when Frieza has Krillin, and he brings him up and he yells out, Goku! And blows up. Frieza blows him up and kills him right in front of Goku. And that was the push that made Goku go, okay, this Frieza guy needs to go, and then he goes Super Saiyan. Most iconic image in all of anime was because Frieza's so evil.
So mean.
Because Toriyama was not afraid to hit Goku where it hurt. So you have to be able to and that's why amassing a bunch of NPCs that they care about is a good thing. And then you could be like, oh man, I have so many plans for those NPCs. None of them are good. But I have so many plans for them. Man.
It's a Death in Dragon Ball. It's
Well, yeah, Death of Dragon Ball is a bad example.
Yeah.
They just come back.
Bad example.
Yeah.
But
I think that was
it's still sad in that
Was that
moment.
like the third time Phil had died? I think at that
Second
point.
time.
How many times did Yamcha die?
Because
at
he
that
was
point?
killed by Tambourine first, and then he was killed by Frieza.
Is that
Poor
Krillin
Krillin.
the second time?
It was only second.
Dude, and he landed.
One more time, you would have gotten the free ice cream.
I forgot what I was gonna say now.
Me too.
Sorry.
I have
Go
like
ahead.
the evil guy, Samus.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
actually turned evil. My character, Moiraine, was part of his group before he turned evil.
Yeah.
And I got, petrified, so I was stoned for like 500 years. Time passed, and then I was brought back to life on stone, and then I find out, oh, wait, who did this?
Yeah.
Why did he do this?
And
Also, the entire like nation was.
Because she didn't see him turn to evil.
Yeah,
She only knew him as a prince.
Prince Ewan.
Yeah, he was a good prince, he was a good guy, and then after she turned to stone and like events had unfolded the way they were, he immediately went to his kingdom and razed it to the ground. Completely just decimated it.
I mean, and then it was
And
hard for her
well,
because he didn't
right,
he
and
couldn't save them.
her dynamic with
Yeah.
that character was completely different than the rest of us because we're all like, oh yeah, he's gotta die. And she's like, no, hold on.
She's
We
like,
gotta
yeah,
talk
like,
to
I
him.
can save
I
him.
tried
I
my
can
best.
fix him.
Yeah, I was like, I tried my best to like talk him out of it or something, like
Right.
telling them, don't kill him. He's still the same
But
prince that I knew.
Bro, he
it
took
gave
over my
you-
kingdom.
it
I
gave
couldn't
you
let
so
him
Yeah,
much-
like-
It gave you so much more to do, to play with as your character with that villain.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was definitely a struggle because conflicting because obviously I want to kill this guy. My character's a prince.
Well,
He messed up my kingdom, right? He took over, and I'm like, he's got to go. And she's like, no, don't kill him. I'm like, bro.
Conflict is what,
Conflict in your party,
it
too,
drives
sometimes
the
it
story
happens.
forward, it drives
Yeah.
your characters forward. Everything can't go well because then there's no motivation to be made.
Sometimes things just go completely to shit.
It has
you
to.
know?
At some point, at some point, things have to go bad.
You're like,
Things
oh my
have to
god,
go
everything's
wrong.
going wrong.
Let the players lose.
Yeah.
Don't force a win. Don't make it to where like oh, if I go along with this 20 that I just rolled, it's gonna kill one of them. Kill them. Do it. 100%
Because then you
do
get
it.
the arc where you go to hell and bring him back.
If you don't want to make them roll a new character and you want them to keep playing the same character, there are always ways around it.
That's like what
in
happened to my
story.
character.
You can always do things. That's why I didn't want to perma-kill any characters in my campaign that I did. So I had it to where certain characters, when given the proper opportunity, they were blessed by a god and became their champion and they became immortal.
Yeah, but that's already like a punishment in itself.
But it's also a punishment because they get to live forever and see all
Also,
their
like,
loved ones
yeah,
die.
because he only did that for me because my character decided to do the right thing and sacrifice themselves for somebody else, which was totally like not like what they'd done before. And he's like, wow, character development. He's like,
It was also really cathartic to stab you like 30 times.
yeah, he stabbed me like 30 times. I uber died, and then he brought
Very
me back
cathartic. And
because
then
God
pushed you
chose
out a
me.
window. Oh
And then
man.
everyone was questioning why does God chose me of all people, and I'm like, well,
Yeah, because she was the goddess of harmony
guys.
for the most chaotic character in the party.
He tried to be harmonious. He's gonna reunite nations.
It was a bit of a hint of going like, hey, you should probably do some character development.
I was like,
Some
okay.
arc.
You will
Sure.
learn our peaceful ways.
Hint.
By force!
But yeah, so when it comes to villains, make them. That's one of your most important NPCs you can ever make, and it drives the whole story. It can make or break your story, because if your villain turns out to be like, well, I only did it because they took a piece of candy from me when I was 5, and then it's just like, okay, calm down.
Okay,
there.
definitely it's more than that. You want to talk about that?
Well, that would be a proportional response to the.
I decided to end the world, and it's like, okay, calm down.
Because you bullied
I mean,
me.
unless you're playing in a joke campaign, in which
If
case.
you're playing a joke campaign, then it's 100% fine. But like, if you want to have that emotional impact, and you want to go forward with like a really cool villain, really take some time. And again, inspiration from media is 100% fine. Everything that we've said and what makes a good backstory applies for villains, applies for important NPCs. A lot of this stuff applies to all this other things. So
They're still characters. They're just
they're just characters that you play.
Yeah, instead of your players' characters.
And again, don't be afraid to be an asshole to your players. Really, you can
Knock them down.
like of course within reason. Don't be like too mean to like
Bro,
like
you
the
literally
player
traumatized my
himself.
character.
Well,
You could be mean to the character, but not the player.
But sometimes
themselves.
it's because of what they do that they traumatize them. It's their own, kind of. Like you traumatized Oscar with sleep around with everybody, and then they ended up, someone died.
Oh my gosh, you're really gonna tell this story?
Oh,
I
well,
guess it's 18 plus is fine.
it is 18 plus. Well, they were having
And
a
the
good
child
time.
is
It's just
sleeping.
sleeping.
They died during coitus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
In the
died
middle of- Maybe.
My character was pinned down by an immovable rod, right? And then they got stabbed from behind while they were, and then they convulsed and died right there. And then my character was just like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ever
And
again.
that stopped you from like.
Yeah, and then my character literally was just didn't do any, didn't
Yeah.
do that anymore
I-
for a while.
It was a pause on the
You're like, stop.
seducing
On
bard.
Seducing
the
every
bard
freaking
behavior.
NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Cease
was-
your
it
bard
was a pause on the
behavior.
bard behavior.
Yeah, I deserve that. And they're
That's
like,
the first time I've ever heard you admit it.
I think that's probably the worst FAC kill you've done.
Maybe you
that was pretty,
worse.
that NPC didn't deserve
Like
that.
like the most traumatic, you mean?
Yeah.
That was pretty traumatic.
Wow, even more than Nurple?
Well, I mean,
Well.
did Nurple,
no most traumatic to her.
That's fair.
Yeah.
yeah, that was, and like, and then you had a character that was trying to uber hit on my character after that trauma happened, and I was like, no thanks.
Testing
It was
yourself.
one of those just like come on, do it.
And I'm like, no,
you
I'm
didn't?
traumatized.
You know what
God,
else?
Yeah, but it was her sister, her
Oh,
character's
yeah,
sister.
My character's sister was
That's right.
being like Oscar to her. Like she was like, oh, he's
Man, this
cute.
makes me want to play
Also,
D&D.
my character, yeah.
And I'll be like, no.
I'd be like, I don't want your
I want to
sister.
get out of here so I can go type some more stuff up.
But yeah,
Stuff like that.
with creating characters, the most important thing is to have fun. That's 100% the most important thing, and make sure to communicate with your fellow players, your DM, or as the DM communicate with your players, and ask for help. Ask for help. It's important. But now we are in our actually scheduled Q&A session. We actually planned out some time for some Q&A. Because last year we only had like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we ran out of time.
We talked
Now we
about
got
it.
like 29 or whenever they kick us out of here. We technically don't have to leave until they kick us out.
You can stay as long as you want.
Okay, you guys don't have to. We're not keeping you hostage.
So,
Maybe.
anybody have any questions?
Or are we? Shut the door! Shut the door! Shut the door!
Or even want to bring up any of their experiences
Now you're
because
in my
the
escape.
table's open if anyone
Yes.
wants to share anything.
This
like,
is now open
no
discussion.
judgment zone.
I have a question. not
Absolutely.
necessary, But, about the evil villain. My villain currently is in a kind of morally gray area, so is almost all the characters in the whole entire campaign. It's kind of like one of the big themes. And I'm kind of having trouble finding like a way to really motivate them to get the villain, because at some times they're kind of siding with him, and they don't know the villain yet, so I can completely change that. But I'm just what's your input on that?
Well, having a morally gray villain is fine, but you will get that problem with the players occasionally going like, I just kind of see his
Wow,
point.
he makes a good point.
He makes a really good point. You can do that, but find a way to, again, hit the players where it hurts. You
Yeah.
can be morally gray,
Make it personal.
but then it becomes personal. And it's just like all those action movies, like, he's back and he's pissed.
Like,
It just became personal.
like
Arnold
have a-
Schwarzenegger. Sorry.
Well, I
Okay, so I was gonna mention like
I'll
have him
use-
kill that military guy.
Yeah, well, I'll use the. Have you seen John Wick?
Yeah.
And by no means is John Wick a good person, right? He's a hitman. He's killed people. He's killed a lot of people. But by no means are the Russian punks that beat him up at the beginning of the movie are good people either, right? They're the son of a mob boss. They're both bad people, right? But you get on John Wick's side because they make it personal. They kill his dog, right? No, we don't kill dogs.
No,
Or
no pets.
cats.
No pets get killed.
Yes.
No pets get killed.
But as an example, right, that gets him motivated to do something horrible, right? Maybe you can motivate your players to want to stop him by making it personal. Or I would say if he's morally gray, maybe give your players the opportunity to not be morally gray. You know, if they start if you give them opportunities to build morals and be more like upright members of society, like, more paladin-esque, then they'll naturally want to stop the bad guy because, their morals are no longer so aligned with them. That might be way more difficult to do, right? But it's certainly an option to try.
I was gonna mention with morally great characters, usually there's like a line they draw, right? So like maybe there's certain things that agree with him, but maybe he does something that just pushes the line for those characters that make them like, no. Like I said, like if that NPC they really like, if he killed them, like something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that.
Or you know, he could slide from morally gray to just straight evil, and they could witness it firsthand.
Right, something that pushed the villain over the edge to be less morally gray and more actually like.
Okay,
I don't know what kind of story you are. You know, I don't know where you are, what you want to tell. I'm just trying to give you options.
Like be spontaneous, have a villain be like randomly just like, okay, time to turn up the evil up a bit.
I mean, a random turn of evil could happen. But Chaos, you have a take?
So, like I said, with morally gray characters, it's not really a bad thing if, say, your characters agree with some of the things that, like, a morally gray character has. Like, let's say, like, he wants, like, no animals to be hurt. Like,
That's where he draws the line.
yeah, your characters can agree with that, because no one wants animals to get hurt.
Yeah.
But there are things that your villain could do that, your players just won't agree with.
Right.
So, it's fine if they agree with some of the things that your villain will agree with, just
Yeah.
make sure that they don't agree with
Yeah, like take it to
Start
the
pushing some buttons.
Yeah, take it to the extreme. I mean, I literally made this one goes to 11 joke, but like, you know, even if they could agree with his morals, but his methods, right? That's what sets him apart.
That's another one.
His methods could be horrendous, but he's trying to achieve a goal that they agree with, but how he goes about it is just all wrong.
Like there've been like villains like that in TV shows
Oh, all the time.
where like they're like, okay, I think all these people should die and only these people should live because say the world's being overpopulated, resources are running out, blah blah blah. We should only keep the higher race. Like something
Why
like that.
didn't he just snap double the
Like
resources
Thanos
instead of
did.
snap half the people away? That makes no sense.
I don't know. He didn't quite think about it economically.
Because he's an evil. He's a villain.
He's called the Mad Titan. He wasn't thinking
Wait,
like.
what are you talking? Oh, you're talking about Thanos.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mad
I'm sorry.
Titan.
Yeah, Thanos.
He wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna make more resources so everyone can live more comfortably. He's like, no, I'm gonna get rid of half of the people.
I don't know.
so that the people can learn.
Yeah.
Right.
They can learn not to test me. But also Thanos is a good case study as well, in that sense, where it's like you agree with like part of what he's saying, but his method was just
Chaos.
So if I
Yeah, it's not
remember,
good.
he got rid of the last thing that was keeping him like, because it was Gamora, right? Like that was
He had to,
Shamgar.
well, he had to get rid of the thing he loved.
So that he could just.
So we don't go too far off on the tangent. We only have one question. Let's get
Okay.
some more questions. Yes. Oh,
We haven't heard from
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Do you wanna
we haven't heard from you yet. Yes.
Okay, so, like next month, me and my friends, we're gonna be playing a campaign. And I'm trying to get away from my comfort zone of playing only martials.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play a warlock.
Okay.
Thing is,
Warlocks are sick.
I don't know how to do, like, create a Patreon or something.
Oh, a patron?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So so your patron obviously is a very important part of playing your warlock. That's where you get your powers from, and you're gonna have a relationship with them. So you definitely need to speak with whoever your DM is and ask them what options you have for the patron of what kind of warlock you want to
Because
play.
it also depends.
Because I'm going with undead.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome! I love undead
Hell yeah.
warlocks. I love that one of their class features, they just don't have to breathe anymore. We're just like, yeah. So yeah, because your patron is not necessarily something that you can create. That might be something your DM has already, or will have to create with you, or already has in mind. I don't know what setting you're playing in, if it's like just regular, like the setting of an pre-established.
Maybe the Frostbane.
Oh,
okay.
Rhyme the Frostbane. So it's.
So there may already
There may
be
already
patrons
be.
that
So you just
that
pick
are
from-
that are already there that you
Mhm.
can pick, but it's definitely something you should tell your DM, like, hey, I want to do an undead warlock. Like, do you have a patron, or like, can we make a patron?
Yeah.
Man, I would really like to play Rhyme of the Frostbane, but we played Curse of Strahd instead.
And you
No,
have
did
so
that-
much
did that
fun.
feel
I
like-
know.
Like, it's like reminds me of like, in Baldur's Gate 3, how Will had his patron Mazor, right?
Yeah.
So like, I guess your relationship with your patron could depend on like, you're talking to your DM, seeing what the patron's about. Usually there's like a little backstory on the patron, they go over that with you.
Yeah, and like I said, there may be already a patron he has in mind, or there could be a collaborative between the two people where you make your own patron that is now in the story a part of it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Hopefully that helps. And then.
Because that's also another NPC that is created around you.
Right.
That, again, like Logic and Solar were saying, the DM does also need to be clued in on that.
Warlock, yeah, they definitely need to be included on that. But warlocks are so great for like connecting your characters to the story and role playing because they have to have a patron, and so you can just take
packed stuff is really cool.
it
Really
automatically
cool.
links them to the story, and you can just take that patron and be like, yep, and put the patron in the story, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love warlocks.
Have
And
fun
it works
playing
as a
warlocks.
DM being able to be like, okay, so because you're a warlock and you're pact bound to a patron of mine, I now get to essentially control you.
Yeah.
I can tell you what to do,
It gives
and
him
you either have to do it or something bad's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
like they'll give you an ultimatum, like how Nazor did to Will if you guys play Baldur's Gate 3, like.
She turns it into a tiefling.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because he didn't,
She cursed it.
yeah.
But also, like, to use an example of what I did for a character, this is a character that I played in a one-shot for somebody who ran my world for me, which was an interesting experience, by the way. I recommend if you've created your own world, play in your own world to have somebody else tell the story in your world. It blow your mind. Absolutely fantastic. So that character, his name is Adalbert Brocard Clonmere Dufut Everard Ferdugus Gainsborough, which is his name. His initials were ABCDEFG. He's certainly the Almighty, which in fact I made he's a Hexblade Warlock. I made his patron the BBEG.
The villain, yeah.
So the big bad evil guy, and he defies him at some point, and he pays the ultimate price for it. Spoilers. But it was really awesome, and it was like for him it was like 2,000 years in the making because he's chained to the god of destruction. He is now immortal, and he can never die until he can.
Yeah.
So yeah, with patrons you can really mess with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So-
It opens up a lot for your character and your
A
story.
lot of doors.
So it's cool.
And
Warlocks
don't
is
be,
great.
don't be afraid to look up, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm assuming this is Dungeons and Dragons, right? He said
It's private
Yeah.
it's a
Don't be
private
afraid to look
model.
up lore of patrons that already exist, and bring that with you. Being like, hey, like, can this be my patron? If you're worried about something like that.
It usually depends on what kind of character you want to play too. Like some patrons are.
Well, that could be part of the conflict. Sometimes you could line up with your patron because you and your patron agree on a lot of things, and they're giving you their power so that you can go do their bidding in the world. Or it could be like a Will and Nazor kind of thing where you needed the power, they gave you the power in that moment, but now they want you to do things you're not okay with.
Mhm.
But that's between you and the DM.
Yeah. Warlocks are my favorite, so like enjoy. Warlocks are really
Yeah,
cool.
warlocks are sick.
Yeah.
So speaking of staying in your comfort zone, I usually play like the pets or the sidekick characters in as a player, and this campaign now they're pushing to do that really unsupportive group. And they want me to be a little bit more not this the little side character, but I just want to step up a little bit, but I'm having trouble with like staying in character. But when I do, I kind of go with the opposite of my personality. I'm like more like the dungeon mom, like make all the snacks ready and get ready for posting and stuff. So with this character, I'm kind of playing with it more chaotically, but I'm having trouble like staying in character. Is there any type of like exercises? I like a playlist, a character diary. That's like
The character diary could be a way to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Generally, like a catchphrase could also do it. Especially if you again, you don't have to, but if you have like a certain voice of how that character sounds.
I'm not gonna feel like voicing it, but just kind of drop the R and have more.
Yeah, just changing the way you do it normally and completely shifting it to something, and it doesn't have to be a lot shift, but just shifting it could probably help you be more of that character. You know, even like
facial expression, posture.
changing like you know.
So like some kind
You
of
can
quirk
do the
maybe?
Ash Ketchum. You can turn your hat backwards, and now you're
Now
serious.
you're in that
you know?
character, or yeah.
That just
Actually, I do have a hat for that character.
it's like
Okay.
you just have it's staying in character can be really hard, especially for extended periods of time. So it's just something you'll have to just keep working at and trying.
I'm the newest player too. I've only been playing for about like 3 years or so, and everybody else been playing for like 10 years.
Yeah, I promise you, they probably still struggle with it too.
Everybody struggles
Yeah.
with staying in character.
I can say the same myself.
For me, it's struggling to keep a voice sometimes.
You forget.
Like, especially when you do hundreds of hours of D&D content, and you come back to a character that you forgot about, that was like in episode 3, and you're like, how did that character sound again?
And sometimes you don't remember
you're
their
all the way in
name.
like 40
That's what
episode
keeping good
40
notes is
something,
Yeah.
and just going like, I don't remember how this person sounded, so I'm just gonna go with my best. I don't have the time to go look and find that exact frame of time where I
Well,
was
we
doing
have
that.
the benefit of everything is recorded, so we can look back.
We could,
Yeah.
but also I have people to tell me as well. I have lore masters that do that for me sometimes. So that's always good, but not everybody has those. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not really relatable.
Just try, try new things, try different things that,
And then like sort of reading in character, just like
it already sounds like you're putting in a lot more effort than a lot of players I know.
Yeah.
So I think you'll be all right.
I think you'll be good.
Practice, maybe.
They did like a couple of a long shot,
Mhm.
and kind of pair with that, and but with like actual character that's like has to improv like lines and like okay, we kind of try to move towards chaotically, but then the group kind of like hates that way too. It kind of still plans. So
I love being the character who ruins plans.
my character ruins everything.
I mean, conflict in your party is good in a certain sense. As long as you're not like you aren't straight up just arguing the whole time. If it becomes like a screaming match at your table, then that's a problem.
We
That's
had
something that
some of
everybody
those.
has to have.
The question,
has to have a talk
are they
about.
upset that your character messed up, or are they upset at you as the
no,
person?
they always at the character.
That's perfectly fine.
That's role play.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, your role play, your role playing just right.
Do you ever talk to the other players like about plans that you want to foil? Right. So sometimes like speaking pre-session.
I kind of let go on instinct and just kind of go off of like
As a character would.
yeah, like off of like the opposite
Sounds about
I-
right.
the opposite I would do. It's a little bit more. I'm a little bit more cautious. And
Yeah.
then like, oh, like, this guy, like, he's probably bored right now. Like he'll be planning for 2 hours, and I'm like, I'll disappear and like bring along or something.
Sure, no, I totally feel that. I guess I was just trying to kind of rope it back to the point of like communication is key. And if you're struggling to be like, or you're worried maybe about, hey, sometimes they don't kind of react the way I hoped to my chaos, communicating pre-session or in between the session about, it doesn't have to be specific, but just like, hey, I'm trying to do this more chaotic thing, like if you have anything planned, like maybe there's a way I can work myself into this mini narrative as a chaos element. Communication being key.
Okay, the thing is not where I did kill a character, a fabled character, that was a clone.
Oh,
I
okay.
was the only person who knew that he was like a clone.
Oh, about your
That
players,
sounds like
that's funny.
such a good moment for the other players to react to that, to be like, what the?
They're like, you just.
And now I have a representation. Now I have a rep that I'm I killed a player, but no, it's actually his clone, and he's like, I technically didn't kill a player, but like, there's still right there.
They labeled you as.
But in story, you killed that person, but you
Yeah.
didn't kill that person. You killed their clone.
That
But
sounds great.
that's awesome. And
he's
if they're
even too, so I'm like, I still have that
Label.
label of like, like being reckless.
I wouldn't worry
Team killer.
too much. Like, coming from someone who is playing a chaotic character that's completely unhinged, I do not tell my players about anything I'm going to do unless it's going to be well, I would tell my DM if it was gonna be something like I'm gonna kill the characters, but no, my character just goes off and does things and does whatever they want. Like it's the Chuck E. Cheese thing. I went and I stole knives from the kitchen, almost got my head smashed like a watermelon when the animatronic picked me up on my head and said, "You gotta go back." And I was like, okay, and then I ran past them again. But like, don't worry. I wouldn't say don't stress too much about it if you're worried, but I guess it just like depends.
I think being able to, like we said, open a line of communication. If it gets that bad, but I don't.
It doesn't sound like it's.
It doesn't sound like it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like, I promise you, if you just start being more spontaneous with your character and just start doing more things in the moment, that the other players will pick up on that, and they'll either learn not to trust you and not key in on things, or etc.
I mean,
Or they'll feed to the chaos.
Yeah.
I mean,
I carry my weight as a player too, which is like, I don't have that label of
I mean, I can understand that, but I mean, since you're I understand. I feel like you're saying that because you're stepping out of your comfort zone.
I'm usually the little pet, pet.
Right.
So you're just not used to it.
This could be a good role play exercise for you, and just play into it.
Baby steps, and then
But do baby steps,
or just go balls to the wall.
Sometimes there's a benefit in that where you just lean into it. As they were saying, I think maybe it's literally the hesitation of like not doing enough, right? Oh, I'm worried about this, but maybe it will become less jarring for the rest of your party. What is it? Desensitization.
Desensitizing. Yeah.
Desensitize your party to your chaos as you're,
I mean, they know you're trying to play a chaotic character, so just work more on being more spontaneous.
Yeah, I mean, it depends who you play with, because my group already knows that I like to play chaotic characters, so they expect it. So, when I don't play that chaotic character, then I'm like, okay, when's she gonna be chaotic?
What's her issue though?
Yeah.
She's gotta have an issue.
What's her issue? Why is she so quiet? It's always the quiet.
We still got about 10 minutes. Any other questions? Anybody else got anything else to share?
If not, I can totally talk for 10 minutes.
I can
Well, I'm also freezing cold up here.
I've been sweating all day.
Yeah.
I've been sweating all day. I'm dying.
My hands are popsicles, and wow. I thought I was bad.
You are wow.
Want to feel this? Look at this. I don't even know how she has. How do you have movement in your extremities? Like, can you do this? Like, I can't.
I just
How?
feel cold.
I could ask for suggestions if you guys want noise in the room.
If you want, you can ask us questions about characters that we've played.
Yeah, does anyone have individual questions for us or just general? Don't be
Ask anything.
Thoughts on your mind.
I mean, I can tell you one of my favorite characters I've played, which is Adam Broker, Claudia Newfound ever after do this game through. I loved him because he talked like this. He's just a swell guy, but he was chaotic evil, of course, because he served the God of destruction. He killed a lot of people. He didn't mind doing that, but he could be reasoned with. He was a good guy. He was a real swell guy. But if you got on the wrong side of him, he'd make sure to send your soul to the Almighty so you can have a nice lunch. It's always good. And then to go even further into, I just remembered an iconic NPC and how you can get there with just a facial expression.
Are you talking about Crazy Joe?
Yes, Crazy Joe.
Dude, I'd always want him to stop looking at me like that every time he would play that character. I'd be like, stop it.
Crazy Joe, you're like this.
He always had
Down here.
And I hated
You would come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
was
Crazy
Crazy Joe's gimmick is he's Beetlejuice. If you're nearby where he is and you say his name, he will show up.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, I heard my name.
He called my character Joe Jr. and his other son died that was also named Joe Jr. and I'm the new Joe Jr. and I'm like, and I kind of adopted him and he makes potions.
His name is
I've had like 13
Potions
Joe
that taste like
He had 13.
But yeah, sometimes it just takes a posture change and you close the eye and then a voice just comes out and you say, hey, how's it going? I'm
Crazy Joe.
I get chills every time you like talk like Crazy Joe.
Oh.
You smell like ladders. You smell like something I want to climb.
What about the?
Yeah.
Yeah, Crazy Joe. Go away.
Sorry, what's up there? I get lost.
Yeah, he makes potions, but they're good, but there's always a side effect.
Why am I thinking?
There's the fuck and the holy fuck potion. This is where he gets the 18 plus part of the program.
What did he gave him? What did you lose your arm?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his arm gets cut off, and he's like, Crazy Joe, I need you to help me. What does this potion do?
Could regrow you an arm. Could do something else. I don't know.
It gave you it.
And I mean,
It gave him
it smells
a
like
tail.
apples. It could be anything.
You got it.
And he got an extra tail, so he had 2 tails. He's a Leonin with 2 tails.
There's some side effects.
Yeah, it didn't give him an arm, it gave him a tail.
One person who drank one of his potions literally, had to do this and then talk like him, and then they passed out. And then they were useless for a really important combat where somebody died.
That might be the
But they
worst.
didn't fully die.
That might be the worst potion ever. Have to talk like Joe, dude, like Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you, 5.
I think it's probably good enough.
I mean, there's plenty of different kinds of NPCs that you can do. There's so many different things that it requires. It requires effort, but not as much on the part as you would think. Like I said, just it takes a posture, it takes a facial expression.
But it's just important that you try. That's I think it turns a lot of people off to tabletops in general. It's like there's effort involved. You've got to participate. You've got to be like willing to put in the effort. But as soon as once you get to that, like get over that, like I gotta try, then you can really play the game, and then you can just try that little bit extra to give your character a voice, and he talks like this or whatever.
Or you can just completely steal actors' accents and call them, General Khan Shawnery, and they talk like this, and they have something to say plenty of times.
Remember, he plays a Spaniard in Highlander. It doesn't make any sense.
Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
That's his name.
Yeah.
That's his name. He's a Scot.
Did you have like a Arnold Schwarzenegger voice?
Well, he just likes doing his arm.
I just like doing Arnold. Come on, it's just really fun. It's a great time. Get to the chopper. Anyways, that's been us for now, I guess. We got 3 minutes.
Let's see, what's everybody's favorite class?
Ooh, yes.
We did
I
that
mentioned it
last
I
year.
didn't do that last year.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Well, we can mention race. Do you guys want to do race and
Yeah,
class?
I've only played a wizard most of the time, but I think, I've only played a wizard, right? Oh, no. I played
You played a fighter.
I played a fighter, Prospero. He was a fighter.
Well, what's your
And
favorite?
My favorite? I really like Prospero though as a fighter.
So, fighter.
Fighter's good, but I want to try maybe do a rogue or something, or barbarian, just to,
Rune Knight
room night.
is a good one.
I like rogues.
Yeah.
Remember at the beginning when he was talking about like rogues and like their tragic backstories, or like rogues without tragic backstories, where like your parents are alive, your life is great. Yeah, that's mainly me.
Really breaking the mold. My favorite is Monk, but I will play anything I can get my hands on because I DM most of the time. Sorry.
Get it out.
It's very emotional.
My favorite is Paladin. I love Paladins.
I mean, I mentioned it, like I love warlocks because they're so cool and they're kind of like edgy also. But also,
You get to be it.
I also love playing a bard. You're just such a bard, you know?
Introduce everything in your path.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, everybody else's favorite class.
No, probably bard, especially when you can fight the stereotype.
I was a College of Swords. I don't know what you.
I played a bard that was the campaign was we were all effectively warlocks on top of everything, given the homebrew.
Oh, nice.
My patron was basically the monogamous patron, and locked my bard
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Your favorite class?
Ranger.
Ranger. Wow. We don't hear a lot of
No, I
those.
don't. I love hearing that.
Rangers are awesome.
Rangers are
They
underrated for
just
sure.
get really, they just get
They're
hit
just
so hard.
unlucky, yeah.
Does anyone else want to share? I'm not gonna force anybody.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So that would be Barbarian. My favorite was
Hell yeah.
the Zealot.
Oh,
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
love Zilla. You're literally too angry to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last campaign, it was the Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Ooh.
And I was playing a Protector Asimar.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I played a Totem Barbarian, I think, which were also really cool. And you were gonna share?
I've only played as a player once, and I was a rogue dwarf.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, I love that. It's not like a dwarf fighter, but like I never think of dwarf and think rogue.
Also,
I
another
love that.
thing, not all dwarves have to have a Scottish accent, because my Scottish accent is crap. The only good thing I can do with it is Sean